Namaste. We all have seen the unfortunate incidents which unfolded in Delhi and at the Red Fort on the Republic Day. People, Republic Day is the most important state ritual of the Republic of India. This is the day when India reaffirms its allegiance to the constitution and democracy. This is the day when armed forces reaffirm their allegiance to the civilian authority. This is the day when the government honors the martyrs of the Republic. This is the day when civilians are awarded for the noticeable contributions that they have made to the nation. To defile or to threaten to defile the sanctity of this day is an act of high treason. This is an attack on the very foundation of the Republic itself. Make no mistake, the problem is not just that the people went on a rampage. The problem is holding a parade parallel to the Republic Day parade itself, because this is an open contempt of the existence of the Republic and a direct challenge to the authority of the state. The Republic Day parade is not of the government of India. That is not the parade of the Prime Minister Modi, or that is not the parade of BJP. That is the parade of India. That is the parade of the Republic of India. To challenge it, to try to undermine it, to prop up rival parades to that parade is the problem. And they did not stop there. They attacked the Red Fort itself. The Red Fort is the symbol of the modern Indian state. This is the place from where the democratically elected Prime Minister of India addresses the nation on the Independence Day. It's not about the Prime Minister in question, it's not about the political party in question. This is about the post or the Prime Minister itself. This is about the symbolism of the Red Fort itself. And to capture the Red Fort, to desecrate it, to vandalize it, and to unfurl their flags on the Red Fort is the stated aim of the enemy countries of India, especially Pakistan. And the people who have done that, they knew it. And that is why they did that. But what is painful is that many people, just in the name of opposing the government in power, in just their hatred from the Modi, one person, they're normalizing this incident. They're normalizing it. They're trying to create confusions that he did that, that person did it. It doesn't matter who did it. The point is, if the very act does not outrage, does not cause outrage, the very fact that, as we've seen in the video, the person disrespected, a person out there disrespected a national flag, if it is not an issue, then I'm sorry, I don't know what exactly is an issue in this country anymore. Because all other things follow from the existence of the government of India and the Republic of India. Now people are saying, well, people matter, the people matter, flag doesn't matter. The same people will on some other day will say, parliament kya hoti hai? How does parliament matter? People want this. On the other day, they will say, judiciary kya hoti hai? People want this. Some other day, they will say, constitution does not matter. What is constitution? People matter. So what these people are trying to do, they're trying to normalize the attack on every institution of the Republic of India, from parliament to judiciary to the national flag to the constitution to the Republic Day, everything in the name of the people, that abstract entity called people. Think about it, why they are doing it. And this is not something which has happened for the first time. This has been happening continuously for several years now. What is the ideology behind this thing? Why do we suddenly see this entire propaganda machinery trying to delegitimize each and every institution of India, each and everything which is held in high regard in India, each and everything which is literally held as sacred in India, especially the Republic Day parade? They're doing it because this is how you destroy a country. And this is something which we've seen in America as well, of late. Once you strip away the legitimacy of every institution, when you strip away the legitimacy of the national day, when you strip away the sanctity of the national flag and the national anthem, they have done that with the national song. So Vande Mataram, they have demonized Vande Mataram, they have normalized the boycott and insult of the Vande Mataram. And it did not stop there. They also tried to do with the Jan Gar Man. We have seen that, how they did that in the name of some liberty, in the name of people's independent views, in the name of oppressed minorities, in the name of oppressed nationalities, and so on. When they came after national song Vande Mataram, you said, okay, kya fark padta hai? How does it matter? Oh, Vande Mataram is a communal Hindu song. It is not a communal Hindu song, by the way. Then they went after Jan Gar Man itself, and you saw, how does it matter? Let's have freedom of expression. Let's agree to disagree. Let's have open debate and discussion. Why do we need to have a national anthem? We are diverse people. We are individuals. We have our individual liberty to respect the national anthem or not. Then they went after the Parliament of India. That Parliament of India cannot make laws. Parliament of India making laws is fascism. Parliament of India making laws is Nazism, is authoritarianism. So the laws will be made on the street because people want it. We have seen in the case of CAA. We are seeing in the case of these farm laws. The people will make law on the streets. Basically, we will impose a street veto on the parliament, delegitimize the parliament. Did it stop there? No. They went after judiciary. Oh, judiciary is fascist. Judiciary is communal. The judges are sold out. There is no justice in the system. The columns were written on it by the eminent intellectuals saying that we cannot have any faith in the parliament and judiciary anymore, and people should fight on the street for their right. Did it stop there? No, it did not. They went after the Constitution of India. When Article 370 was abrogated and there was full integration, full constitutional integration of the Jammu and Kashmir enacted, these people opposed the implementation of the full implementation of the Constitution of India. They opposed everything which is in the Constitution of India: the equality of minorities, the equality of individuals, the equality of women, the rights of the Dalits. They opposed each and every one of that provision, and implementation of the full Constitution of India in Kashmir was called fascism and Nazism. So Constitution became oppressive. Articles were written. Can we have just one constitution in this country? We are such a diverse country. We should become like America, different states having different kind of laws and rules and regulations. Did it stop there? No, it did not. They went after the Republic Day parade, which I have told you is a very important state ritual of the Republic of India. This is basically the day in which India reaffirms that it is a republic. They tried to desecrate it. And make no mistake, had our police force not acted professionally as they did, they would have violated the Republic Day parade and created mayhem out there. Did it stop there? No, it did not. They went after the Red Fort, the symbol of the Indian state. They vandalized it. And it was again normalized. How does it matter? Red Fort belongs to the people. Can't people go wherever they want to? Can't they do whatever they want to? These are your own citizens. Let them do what they want to do. Did it stop there? No, it did not. Then we saw that how the national flag was disrespected. And then we were told, you know, how does it matter? People matter. Why are you worried about a national flag? There's so many people sitting in cold and protesting against this law, and the government is not listening, and all kind of usual work about tree that this also happened, that also happened. Understand this thing. They are deconstructing brick by brick all the pillars which uphold India as a republic, as a modern country, as a united country. And if you think this is a trivial matter, please wake up now. Please wake up now. And don't underestimate this threat which we are seeing. There's a constant effort in shaping a narrative that India is a fascist state. So then never make a mistake that they are opposing Modi or BJP. When Congress was in power, the language was the same. Today they say BJP government is the fascist, Hindu fascist Brahmanical government. Before 2014, the same propaganda used to be against the Congress party, that this Manmohan Singh government, Congress government, is the Hindu fascist Brahminical state, is a Nazi government, which is killing people, which is oppressing minority and whatnot. Remember, their enemy is not Congress, their enemy is not BJP, their enemy is not Modi, no one. Their enemy is India itself. Because they believe in their ideological, in their theoretical construct, that India is an illegitimate entity, India must be destroyed, and it should be partitioned into smaller states, because India is this imperial power which is ruling over different nationalities, and all of them should get independence. This is the stated objective, this is a theoretical objective, this is their ideological belief. When they say they want Azadi from Bhukmari, when they want Azadi from Garibi, what they did not say and what he never asked. According to them, Azadi from Bhukmari, freedom from poverty, will only come when India ceases to exist, when India is broken up into pieces. Because for them, India is the root of all evils. And this is why you see all the literature in the name of academic work, in the name of intellectual discourse, in the magazines like Caravan. Every article is about deconstructing India as a false identity. They have even stopped using the word India. It's South Asia. God knows what South Asia is. Because South Asia is used to deny the existence of India. In the academic world, the discourse has reached to such a manner, if you use the word India, that is called an oppressive imposition of a hegemonic identity on the people and nationalities of the South Asia. So India itself is being converted into, a word which is oppressive, which should not be used at all. You see that in the case of Hinduism. All this literature, Hinduism is a false religion. The Caravan magazine came up with a Nazi-like poster, the cover page of their magazine, how upper caste created Hinduism. Basically, Hinduism is nothing, it's a false religion. Well, every religion is created in some point or the other. How does it matter, first of all? But look at the word, Hinduism is a false religion. Can they write Judaism is a false religion? Can they write Islam is a false religion? Can they write Buddhism is a false religion? But no, only against Hinduism. Why? And calling anyone follower of the false religion in the history, throughout the history, is a precursor to genocide. We've seen that. Most brutal genocides and ethnic cleansings in this world has been done in the name of religion, where you accuse other one of following false religion, worshipping false gods. And that has been the fate of Hindus for a millennia. From Goa Inquisition to under persecution of the Islamic rule, Hindus were killed, massacred in mass because they are follower of the false religion. And this is what a magazine is openly doing that in India, labeling you publicly false religion. This is a dog whistle for genocide. This is preparing the ground for genocide. This is the basis on which The Hindus are killed in Pakistan. This is the basis on which Hindus are killed in Afghanistan, in Bangladesh. The underage girls are kidnapped and forcibly converted to the true religion. This is the label which is used to deny Hindus equal civic rights in many countries around the world, because Hinduism is not recognized as a religion. To label it as a false religion is a call for genocide and persecution, and they're doing it openly. They're doing it openly because they understand the Hindu identity is a very powerful uniting force in India, which is a very diverse country. So, if you want to destroy India, you have to destroy the Hindu identity. You have to say, well, you people are all different from each other. There is no commonalities between the two. And then it becomes easier to unravel that sense of nationalism and belonging to the place. And then you go for your real aim, the destruction of the Indian state itself. So this constant demonization of Indian state, Indian police, Modi ki police hai, police can't be believed. In the Delhi riots, the police was doing danga. We have seen yesterday how professionally the police behaves. They were putting their bodies in the harm's way in the front of those mad thugs trying to mow them down using tractors, attacking them with swords. And why were they doing that? There's another very interesting thing which is happening repeatedly in India, but people are not noticing it. There's a determined effort over every issue, from a small university level protest to the farmers' protest to the NTCA protests. There is a determined effort. You see there's a method in the madness. There's an attempt to drag the state into street battles. What they were trying to do on 26th of January was to provoke the government and the police to open fire. That would have started a downward spiral of violence. And they're doing it in every case. Because when you drag state into street fights, you are slowly eroding the legitimacy of the state. You're painting state into a negative picture. You're painting state. Now, you have been doing propaganda that state is Nazi, state is fascist, state is evil, state is oppressive. But now you will have video records of it. You will have the proof of it, which will be used for recruitment purpose, which will be used for propaganda purpose, content generation. And we're seeing a very determined, very well-planned disinformation machinery. We've seen that yesterday. People were tweeting, especially the magazines like Caravan were tweeting. An eyewitness account told them how a farmer was shot dead by the policeman. Why is that? There's a very, very strong disinformation machinery. This is to provoke large-scale violence because they know India is too strong. Indian state is very strong. So you can't defeat it in a war anymore. You can't defeat it by your Maoist revolution anymore. So you have to infiltrate the city spaces. You have to infiltrate the civil society. You have to infiltrate these universities. You have to infiltrate every protest, no matter what. Whether it's farmers' protest, whether it's students' protest, whether it's any kind of protest, you infiltrate there and create mayhem. Because step by step, you are going to destroy the Indian state. So this is a very big threat, and we have seen the trailer. We have seen the machinery at play on 26th of January. And never forget that. Never take it lightly. This is my submission, because it does not take much for even the most powerful states in the world to collapse. It never takes much for civilization to turn into barbarism. You just have to be present at the right moment and strike at the right moment, and things would always unravel. And make no mistake, especially the people who romanticize this kind of protest and violence, your revolution will never come. All you will have is the violence at your doorstep. These are regressive forces out there. They're not revolutionary forces. They are not fighting for any noble aim despite their propaganda. And if the Indian state collapses, if Indian state ceases to exist, The quantum of violence which will sweep the Indian subcontinent is unimaginable. And no, your cute Instagram word will not be safe from it. So stop romanticizing with radicalism, stop playing with fire. Everything is not about BJP, Congress, everything is not about left or right, everything is not about your what I believe, what you believe. There's certain things which are non negotiable. And the authority of the state, the existence and the unity of the Republic of India is not negotiable. The sooner you understand it, the better it is for everyone, for more than 1.5 billion people. In fact, I should include the entire subcontinent, not just Republic of India, is better for everyone. Thank you.